Hey everyone, it's Rachel. Thanks for watching this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to print beyond 8.5 by 11 using Cricut's printable vinyl. So first of all, we got to start with an image. And I found this pretty floral border in Canva, and I just went into the elements here on the left side and then went ahead and typed in, I forget what I typed in. I just typed in watercolor spring floral, and this is what popped up. So I really liked this image, and we're going to duplicate this a couple of times because we need to fill the space of my blank, which you'll see here in a moment. Here in the upper right corner is where you can give the title of your design. I'm just going to leave it untitled. And to be honest, it doesn't matter the canvas size when you're dealing with SVGs. So I usually default to 3000 by 2250 pixels. So once you found the image that you like, you can go ahead and click on share. And then if you're a pro account, then you can make sure that when you hit download that you do a transparent background. Now, of course, if you're not a pro member, then you won't have that ability to do that, but no fear, Cricut will allow you to remove the background. It's just going to take you more time than it would if I just click on transparent background, okay? So you're gonna hit download, and then you're gonna open up Cricut, and then you're gonna hit upload here on the left side. So you're gonna find the floral that you like, and I already have it highlighted. So you're gonna hit add it to canvas. Now that you have your image in Canvas, or in your design space rather, again, I already had it uploaded, so I went through the whole flat image, creating it as a flat image, and the background, of course, was already downloaded as a transparent background, so I don't have to worry about that. So I apologize, it's already skipped just because I had already uploaded it, so I already bypassed all of that. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and put that to the side, and then you're going to go ahead and get the shape that best shows the shape of your blank. So mine is going to be the square, and then I'm going to change the size to what is currently on my blank. So before I do that, actually, I always like to switch this to guide. And then I'm going to type in the size of my blank. So it's rough, these are just rough numbers, just because I think I might have it a little bit larger so I can trim off the sides. But you'll understand what I'm talking about here in a moment. So it's roughly 24 inches, and of course you want to make sure that you unlock it if it's not a square. So 24 by, I think it's 11.75. So clearly, if I were to enlarge this, watch what will happen. You'll get this little notification here on the right side, and it just says that your item is too large, and it will auto resize the image. So you'll just go ahead and simply click on that. Now, if you don't get that, I always like just to make it bigger so I will get the correct size, because I don't want to, in this case, I don't want to accidentally resize it too small, because I want it as large as I can. All right. So it is as big as it's going to get, which is great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of my image and also my guide, and I'm going to align it here at the bottom, and then align it at the side. So that is the start of my image here. And then at this point, you simply want to, I'm going to go ahead and send my grid, or not my grid, but my guide in the back so I don't accidentally keep on selecting it. So I'm going to hit back. All right, so what I'll do now is I'll click on that, and I'll hit the duplicate button. Place my duplicated image next to the first floral arrangement, but you will see there's a little bit of an issue, and if I zoom in, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to be careful when choosing your floral arrangements, because if we go back into Canva, let me go ahead and go back in there, you will see that the image is cut off here at the side. And if I try to expand it, it's just going to make it larger. So clearly that's the extent of the drawing. Now, not the drawing, but the image, excuse me. I have teacher brain going on right now. So that really doesn't look right, okay? So there are a few things that you can do to remedy that issue. What you can do is scooch this in a little bit closer, and then you can go ahead and hit send back. So that way, really this part's not that noticeable, but of course, if that does bother you, then you're gonna wanna try to mess around with that. But you know, you already have flowers that are overlaying each other, so this really just kind of fits in. You also can, Another part that you can do is, I don't know why, see, this one of the Cricut issues. I'm gonna go ahead and send that back again. Another thing that you can do is you can slice it. You can do the slice method. I'm gonna go ahead and move that away because I don't want to accidentally keep on selecting my guide here. So another thing you can do, like I said, is you can slice all of this. So this actually hides behind this flower, so I'm not that worried about it. It's this one right here that's still, you know, not quite underneath there and hiding that little issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and simply use a shape that's gonna, you know, work to my advantage. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of work it to, you know, however it will fit in there. Now I might have to scooch it in a little bit, so you're gonna have to get in there and zoom in as best as you can. All right, so that looks good. So I'm gonna select both of them and you're gonna hit slice. Remember, you can only slice 2 objects at a time. So if it's not joined or welded together, then it's not gonna slice. So there you go, slice this part out. Now this part, if that does bother you, then you can just simply go ahead and flip this over and then work on this side of the square and, you know, work it from there. But honestly, it's gonna fit, it's just gonna work perfectly for what I need. Okay, so that's how you remedy that issue. Now, of course, if the 2 florals don't match up, then what you'll have to do is slice this out as well. But honestly, I think that, if I remember correctly, that does line up pretty good. So you just got to remember this concept when you go ahead, and in fact, I don't even need to push it closer now, right? Because that actually looks like it's part of the design. So I'll be okay with that. I'm gonna go ahead and move that out just so that way I don't have to keep on doubling my floor arrangement, and I don't have to have so much overlaying each other. Now again, if that bothers you, then scooch it all in and you'll be good to go. All right, so that works out perfectly. So then once I got that done, then what I will do is come up here and duplicate that. Now here's where, do you want to keep on having the same pattern over and over, or you want to mirror it? I don't want to mirror it only because I don't want these 2 flowers being next to each other, so I'm just going to keep on going with my floral arrangement. So once again, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I have, now remember, when you print this out, this is what you're going to see, right? So you got to be meticulous about which one gets laid down first, right? So just be mindful of that when you're laying down your vinyl. And you're more than welcome to just print this as is and just slice off what you don't need. I don't think I did that, so that's okay. What you can do, if you don't want to, if you want to save your ink or even save your printable vinyl, then you can go ahead and slice it out. So again, just so that way we can make sure that it looks good, I'm gonna go ahead and hit send it back, and it looks perfect. Okay, so then what I'll do is, I don't want to exactly move this, and I always like to just give a little bit of an offset from where my square starts, just in case my measurements happen to be wrong. Sometimes that happens. I was taught measure twice, draw once in my field, but sometimes I just get too quick and I don't. So I always like to be a little bit generous when I can. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and slice it, and then I can go ahead and delete that. Now, of course, when we go to print this or apply this to the blank, you're going to have a little bit extra, assuming you didn't get it down to the T, and then that's all right. You'll just cut it off. Okay, now if you would want the florals to be taller, then you're going to have to be a little bit, you're going to have to do more slices. So for example, like, you're going to have to find a natural break in the floral arrangement. Like, I guess the natural break would be kind of right here, and then and then you can you know, make this a lot larger, because now it's a smaller piece. It would only be, you know, from here to here as opposed to all the way over here. So, you know, therefore you can make everything taller. Now, another way you could go about doing that, instead of doing it in Design Space, because to be honest, slicing all that would be a headache, you can go ahead and do it in Canva. So if you click on your image and hit Edit Photo, you can do, now I did a background remover on this image because there was a background, just to make sure that it does a transparent background. But so anyways, where it says background remover, you're gonna go ahead and click on that, and then you actually can sit here and erase. I'm going to go ahead and make my eraser size a lot bigger, and I'm going to go ahead and try to find where that break is. In fact, I may have to holding down the control button and scrolling towards the screen to zoom in a little bit. So now I can just simply erase all of this. I'm just going to go ahead and get that, and then I'm going to make my eraser a lot smaller to fit in. Okay, just be really careful. Perfect. So I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my eraser size as big as I can and erase all of that. Okay, perfect. So that was easy. So I'll just hit the back arrow of the background remover. Oh, looks like I forgot a little area there, so that's okay. Click on that. Wonderful. And then I'll just close this up. Perfect. So now, like, let's just pretend this is design space. I can now make it bigger, so that way it will fit the size that we're allowed to fit in, and then therefore your flowers will be bigger and taller. So if in order to do things bigger to fill this space, you're just gonna have to make the cuts a lot more. So then what you'll do is, to have the rest of it, you'll just hit duplicate on that, hit add page. I'm going to go ahead and bring that down, and then what I'll do is hit edit photo, and then I'm going to hit restore, and then I'll just restore all of it by just using my circle here. Looks like I'm just going to go over just to make sure everything is restored. Perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the erase, and I'll erase this side. All right, here. I think that looks good. Sometimes it's tricky to see everything until you come back. And then, okay, it's disappeared. That's just because of the little window that we have going on here. Oops. Okay, and then I think, do we got to go down a little bit? Nope, we don't. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and close that a little bit more. So now we have two halves of the one floor arrangement. And the one thing we just want to make sure is that they're both about the same ratio, or the same height rather. We don't want them to be like one's tinier than the other, because it just wouldn't look right. Unless it works for it, but you just kind of want to be mindful that the height is about the same. To the point where it makes sense. Okay, so that's how you get around doing that. Now, again, I don't know if this doesn't look like it has a little crown next to it, so I don't think that is a pro member option, or pro member only option. So I think you can do that if you're not a pro member, but that's how you circumvent slicing it. But I actually want to add some text, and I didn't want this to be so large, so I went ahead and just did what I showed you guys. And then I'm going to go ahead and just erase that so I can kind of show you what it's going to look like. So I got the fonts from Design Bundles, or Font Bundles rather, and I have a new favorite font. I am so excited to be using this font. And let's see here. So the two fonts is Bestie Forever, and then my new favorite, Flower Girl. I'm obsessed with this font. They are fun. They are from Font Bundle, so be sure to go get them. You will see them a lot on my channel, especially this one. This one's just, ooh, I love it. Okay, I already have everything all cut out and ready to go. So let's go ahead and flip to the craft table, and let's see how this all comes to play. All right, here is my blank, and this is actually a Christmas blank, and I bought like three or four, and I bought 3 or 4 of them, and here's why. They are solid wood, which is awesome, because most of the wood that you get in the unfinished wood pile section, it's really lightweight and it's not solid. This is solid, and it was originally 40 bucks, and I got it for $4. And I thought it was kind of cool, because if I didn't feel like sanding what was on top of it, then I can just simply flip it around and put something on this side, of course remove the tag. So this is still going to be an option. I obviously need to clean it up a little bit just because it was dirty from my sander, so that will have to be touched up. But for right now, I am working with this side. I went ahead and sanded it and added like 2 or 3 coats of chalk paint to this. So I'm really excited to be using this. I also, before we get into the design here, I wanted to show you guys this. I haven't seen it at Hobby Lobby, and so this is relatively new. I saw these scalloped wood cutouts here, and I don't know if it tells you the size. Yes, it's 30 inches, and I am like loving this. I'm thinking of making something for my daughter for her room with this blank. Of course, like I said, I have like 3 of them, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I mean, how cute are these? Okay, so as mentioned before, I already had these all cut out, so what I'm going to do is move this. All right, let's go ahead and get this weeded out. This shouldn't be too bad of a weed, just because, I don't know, it just to me doesn't look like it's going to be that bad, but who knows, I could be wrong. See if I can still use this, and only because that's prime real estate right there, right? So I'm gonna just go ahead and make a slight cut. I don't want to put a lot of pressure because I don't want it cutting through the the backer, because I want to still be able to feed this through my printer. And one thing that you could potentially do is maybe make a square cut around this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play around with this because I feel like I waste a lot of printable vinyl, and I want to try to figure out like how. Oh, let's see if I cut it right through. Okay, I put too much pressure. Darn. Well, you know, maybe I could put some washi tape on the back, and I don't know. I don't want to jam up my printer, so maybe that wasn't the best thing. I'm wondering if this will still print. You know what? Don't do it. I will test it out for y'all. I'm going to still keep this, and if I ever get to this, I will let you guys know. All right. Now, this piece here goes here. And then this one goes on top of there, and then we should be good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and bring out some transfer tape. Okay. I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. My refrigerator is deciding to make ice cubes right now, which is amazing because our ice cube maker broke about a month, and we got it fixed finally. So I am one excited person to have some ice again, because our water, oh no, okay. All right, so we have, I don't know if you guys can tell, I have a little bit of a bubble issue. So we are going to try to run with it. I don't think I have any other choice. I'm going to try to be careful not to put any pressure there, and I'm hoping it will resolve itself once I peel it back. We have to get this aligned now, but the problem of it is this part has to go on top of that. So in order to combat the issue, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my transfer tape, because I'm not about to try to figure out where this goes alongside my blank here. So I will bring that in, and then just go ahead and get this aligned. Okay. There we go. Then what I'll do is I'm going to get another piece of transfer tape, and get this underneath here. Okay, and the same issue is going to be for the right side, so just be mindful of that when you're trying to align this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend that backwards. I think I need that to go away. Actually, I probably need a third hand, honestly. Doesn't help that I have this little bubble here that is just not wanting to fix itself. Okay. Let me get one for this side. Okay. Actually, you know what? To make this a little bit easier, I think I'm gonna put this one down first. Y'all are probably screaming at me to do that. That way I'm putting this one down. That way I don't have to worry about trying to use parchment paper for that side. This one's already gonna be kind of a struggle as it is. So that is why I decided just to kind of put this one down first. I suppose it just probably just makes more sense that way, right? And I just noticed some areas that I need to weed out. I think that was the only one. A lot easier to see than it is the other side. Okay, let's bring this over. Perfect. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so now I don't need to worry about this, but I am going to put this here just so I can move this around a little bit. Okay. So I just need to make sure that this covers that area. Okay. Moving that to the side. Try to hold that back real quick. Perfect. Okay, so stay. I'm going to go ahead and I don't want this to fold on top of my vinyl. So I'm going to bend that back real quick, and then I'm going to try to pull this out gently. A lot of moving parts. Oh, okay. I want to make sure that I didn't have any bubbles. I'm going to go ahead and scrape this down really well. So I know another channel did this, did a project very similar to this. Let me tell you, first of all, I had this in my to-do list longer than I care to imagine. This actually was going to come out in the summertime, to be honest. I'm wanting to do it for spring, but I had enough spring crafts, so I just decided not to do it for spring. But now it's kind of like a or everyday decor. But they were doing a water slide technique, and I don't understand. I'm not going to name the channel because I'm not trying to badmouth them or anything like that, but I'm not understanding why they chose to do that. And hey, more power to them. But when you could, it just, to me, it just ruins the project. You got all this water on here. So I was like, I've got to show a better way of doing that. So like I said, this was going to come out in June actually, and I was going to make this more of a summer arrangement, but I just cannot let that go. So do this instead of a water technique. I even asked them, I said, why do that when you could do printable vinyl? And they never responded, which is fine. You know, they don't have to respond. And anyways, that was just kind of, I just had to respond in my own way. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get this done before June. And I actually was surprised. I looked up like, oh my god, it's the same floral arrangement I've already picked out. And luckily, no. In fact, this is not even, looks like I want a little Cricut, but I'm just going to go ahead and bend that. It looks like I actually had a different floral arrangement, which was way too close to theirs. I'm like, all right, I got to be different. So I went ahead. Actually, no, I did not. My arrangement was a little different, and the reason why I went with a different one is because the stems were way too thin, and I just didn't want this. I thought this was going to be difficult enough, so I went with this one, which was a little bit more thicker than the one I had originally selected. But I do have proof that this has been sitting in my to-do list, should anyone need to see it. I swear I'm not copying their channel, but I do, like I said, if you know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to mention their channel. And again, I'm not trying to badmouth them by any means. You know, they are showing us a different technique. I don't understand the reason for it, because the water slide technique it's a mess. So that's just my 2 cents. Y'all do what you want. I love their channel. I watch them all the time too. So that looks amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and weed out the phrase here. And I wanted to show you all something. I hadn't taken it off the mat because this actually came from a 12, this vinyl here came from a 12 by, I don't know, 5 feet smart vinyl. And I wanted you guys to know that I had used this for a different project and cut it down and didn't need this obviously for that project, so I kept it, and I thought this was perfect, but of course this was going to be too wide for the Cricut Joy. Cricut Joy. And so what I did is I just kept the vinyl, and you can use smart vinyl and just put it on your mat like normal. You just got to make sure that you do on the mat and you do smart material when you're doing this. Okay, so that's why I left it on the mat, just to kind of show you that you can use those scrap pieces of smart vinyl. Now, of course, if this was a little bit more narrower, I would have just used Cricut Joy material, but because, of course, we'll just save this for another project. But because, you know, I think it's 5.5 inches or something like that, and that's way too wide. Unless, of course, I opted to separate the two, and I just did not want to do this. This is, to me, is already going to be a little bit of a challenge trying to put this straight as possible. So I didn't want to give myself more of a challenge, if you know what I mean. And I just used black vinyl. Now, another thing that you can make it a little bit easier on you is if you would have done iron-on. Iron-on will allow you to move it around. And then, of course, oh, looks like my S. Okay. I was getting a little too confident with my weeding here. But anyways, that will give you a little bit more extra time to get put this into place. And I did not have any iron-on for the that was long enough, so that is why. Actually, no, I did not in black. I didn't. Believe it or not, all the vinyl I have, and I do not have black iron-on, smart iron-on. That would have been long enough. So again, these are from Font Bundles. The 2 fonts, I will link them in the description box for y'all. I just loving this one. I don't know about you guys, but this one's pretty too. I mean, obviously that's why I'm using it, but this script font is definitely where it's at for me right now. Another one I use quite often is Apricots. I'll go ahead and link that one in the description box for y'all too. If I don't, just go ahead and let me know. And that is another one. I use that in my thumbnails an awful lot, and I've used it in some of my crafts as well. But this one is going to have to be right up at the top there. Okay. Get the middle squeezed out. Perfect. So it just says there are countless reasons to embrace happiness. All right, I'm going to use my Cricut Joy transfer tape for this because I think this should be wide enough for me to use. Yep, perfect. I had to edit out a little bit of this because I was struggling trying to get my transfer tape started, and I had to cut some of it off because it was ripping. So now I'm going to be a little bit short, and that's quite all right because I'll just go ahead and add a little bit at the end there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start a little bit, and it has this little lip here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull that on to my vinyl. Went a little crooked, but that's okay. And as long as they're overlapping, you should be good to go. Then I will go ahead and burnish this really well, making sure that's good and scraped down. Let's go ahead and scrape the back. Oops. Okay. Let's get that back up there. Okay, let's go ahead and get the blank and we'll put this on here. Okay, so then let's just go ahead and try to get this straight as possible. I think I got it. Let's go ahead and get this scraped down. I think I have a little bit of an air bubble, but I think I might be able to rectify that issue. Okay, let's go ahead and carefully peel this back. Okay, let's go ahead and get this. Now you want to be careful when you're peeling this back, as you don't want to accidentally rip up your paint. And I opted for Cricut's transfer tape because I feel like it works the best for the smart material. So I had to edit some of this out only because it took me forever to get it lined up. As you guys know, that I don't get things straight the first time. I mean, almost every video, and actually it's probably, sorry for the noise, every video I edit the time when I'm trying to get things straight, because you guys would get bored and probably move on from this video because it takes me forever. I measure, remeasure, and sometimes I just end up giving up. Again, we don't do perfection. Perfections are for the stuff that you buy at the store. And even then, those items are not perfect either. There are always tiny imperfections. So don't try to be perfect. Like, literally, I think I'm a 16th inch off. Is it going to bother me? No. If it does, I'll redo it. But honestly, I think this turned out great. So this is how you do a larger than 8.5 by 11. You simply just slice them and you got yourself a really beautiful project. And honestly, this does look store-bought, which is always a plus, especially when someone asks, where'd you get it? And you can just say, I made it. All right, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.